This is CEMTV News at 6. This is CEMTV News at 6.
CEMTV News, truth first, you next. Stay informed to stay empowered. Good evening and welcome to CEMTV News at 6. I am Barrister Christian Omoigo. Let's take a look at the highlight. Governor Fubara commissions Entrepreneurship Center on a project at Elechi Amadi Polytechnic. President Tinubu meet Housing Minister EFCC Chairman over transparent management of forfeited property. Israeli forces attack arrest Palestinians in widespread raids across Occupy West Bank. Details of these stories and more in a moment. Just stay with us. We begin the news from River State, where the state governor, Sir Similai Fubara, has commissioned Center for Vocational Skills, Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Building, School of Engineering, Technology, and Governing Council Building at Elechi Amadi Polytechnic, Rumola. The governor urged students to protect the facility and make meaningful use of it for their future. Our correspondent now reports the story.
The commissioning ceremony, which held on Wednesday, attracted former and serving government officials, traditional rulers, members of the River State House of Assembly, commissioners, permanent secretaries, local government council chairmen, women groups, principal officers, former deputy governor of River State, Honorable Tele Ikuru, staff and students of the Polytechnic. The arrival of Governor Fubara and his deputy, Honorable Ngozi Odo, was greeted with songs, cheers, and expressions of support from guests at the venue. The chairman of the Governing Council of Captain Elechi Amadi Polytechnic, Honorable Evangelist Hope O. Ikiriko, described the institution as a pregnant woman ready to deliver a beautiful baby, while expressing appreciation to the governor and his deputy for attending the commissioning in person.
Your Excellency, today you have not only added one feather to your crown for the numerous projects you have actualized for the people of River State. You have taken another bold step in sustaining the culture of revolutionizing development in River State, as initiated by your worthy predecessor, our leader, the one and only Mr. Project of our time, and the current FCT Minister, Chief Minister Joseph Wike. And for this, we thank you, Your Excellency.
Governor Fubara, in his remarks, said his background as a teacher has deepened his commitment to education, stressing that government projects must go beyond construction to deliver positive impact on people's lives.
Us as a government, what is important to us is not just about embarking on projects, but projects that will touch the life, projects that will solve problems, projects that will bring advancements in our lives. I personally took it upon myself to say that if I have to do anything here, it should be something that will have value. And I'm very happy that the management of this school appreciates. Today, what is the purpose of the Entrepreneurial Center? It is a place where we prepare our own people. When you're through with that, you create your own business. You don't need to start sending letters. You don't need to start sending me texts that I promised 10,000 employment of civil servants. 10,000 employment of civil servants or who and being officer. We're talking about technical issues. We need doctors, we need teachers, well-prepared teachers. If we're employing, we need accountants. Accountants can't even be everywhere. Technology has taken over everything.
The governor said the new facilities were designed to provide a conducive environment for students to build strong educational and entrepreneurial foundations. He described the project as belonging to the Polytechnic and its students, urging them to protect and sustain the facilities so that future generations would benefit from the legacy left behind.
So if we have to prepare our youth, if we have to prepare our dear states for the challenge ahead, our program has to be very strategic. So I have to say that I'm very happy that the little thing we're able to do here is really, really appreciated. I would also want to appeal to the school authority here. You also solved my problem when you said Rome was not built in a day. So therefore, borrowing from that, you know that all your requests I can attend to it. But the most important thing is that we have done something. We also try to see any other thing we can add to what we have already done for you. Very special NGA that gave me this opportunity. Maybe it's an opportunity for me to say thank you again. I will continue to be grateful for this wonderful opportunity you gave to me.
In his opening remarks, the chairman of Obiakpo Local Government Area, Honorable Gift Walu, recognized the dignitaries and other stakeholders at the event, assuring the governor that the Polytechnic would focus on producing job creators rather than job seekers.
What you have done shows that you really appreciate the times that we are in, a time when there is high levels of unemployment. This critical intervention, I believe, is aimed at ensuring that this Polytechnic stops from today to produce job seekers and will start to produce job creators.
The Honorable Commissioner of Education, Honorable Peter Nwagwo, appreciated the governor's impactful project, terming it as a clear testament to his commitment to providing sustainable infrastructure across the state.
I wish to sincerely appreciate you for your commitment to the timely release of funds for the completion of this monumental project. This project is a clear testament of your administration's unwavering commitment to providing quality education, improving learning facilities, and promoting sustainable infrastructural development across the state.
The rector of the Polytechnic, Dr. Moses S. Wiebe, said the commissioning covered 3 major projects and marked the first of such commissioning at the institution in about 2 decades. He noted that the Polytechnic, established in 1977, had passed through several developmental phases and expressed gratitude to the state government for the new projects.
To us, the benefits of these projects are enormous, as they have not only given a facelift to the physical environment, but has also increased our ability to meet infrastructural requirements for more academic programs, as well as to provide our students with conducive facilities for acquiring the much desired practical and technical skills. Our newly completed Government Council building has facilities for Government Council chambers, academic boardroom, and a conference hall, thereby providing us comfort while holding meetings and events of the Polytechnic in conducive atmospheres.
The commissioning therefore marks a significant milestone in the Polytechnic's development and the state government's efforts to strengthen skills and entrepreneurship development amongst young people. Speaking with Honorable Ezebunwo Chemati on the importance of the project, he stated that the governor does not just want the people of River State to enjoy the dividends of democracy on road constructions, but also in the aspect of education.
The governor is diversifying governance, and today you can see that we are in Captain Elechi Amadi's Polytechnic, where the governor has constructed the Senate building for the School of Engineering Technology, and other buildings to accommodate education here. It boils down to one thing: the governor wants the people of River State to not just enjoy dividends of democracy in road construction, but enhancing the educational quality of River State indigents.
Meanwhile, River State Governor Sir Similai Fubara has assured residents that his administration will continue to provide critical infrastructure and address pressing developmental needs despite the limited time remaining in his tenure. Governor Fubara gave the assurance while commissioning the reconstructed 12 1-kilometer Egui Afaramba Road in Echia local government area of River State. The governor said the completion of the road reflects his administration's commitment to delivering projects that will improve connectivity, promote economic activities, and enhance the quality of life of residents. Our correspondent now reports the story.
Speaking with CEMTV crew after the commissioning, some stakeholders expressed appreciation to Governor Fubara for completing the road, describing the project as a significant development for the people of the area. The stakeholders said the road would ease transportation, improve movement of goods and services, and create greater economic opportunities for residents and businesses within the affected communities.
This road is very important to Che people because it's linking to Imo State. From Afara, Mba, you can get Ndash. From Ndash, you get to Imo State. It's very, very important, very short to go to Imo State. But because the road was very bad, we cannot go. Nobody can enter. Thank God for the similarities, Fubara, who has remembered us this day to ensure that Eche people has continued passing this road.
And by the grace of God, it is successful, it is beautiful, and we are super proud of our executive governor. By the grace of God, he has done this. It's a win-win situation for all of us. We are super proud. I want to advise the road users to be careful. What he has given to us is a smooth road that will help commuters, help farmers to convey their products to the markets. It's not to destroy life. Let every user of this project please be careful because the road is very smooth now.
They commended the state government for responding to the infrastructural needs of the people and urged the authorities to sustain the development of other critical infrastructure across Eche local government area. The stakeholders also expressed hope that the newly reconstructed road would be properly maintained to ensure its durability and continued benefits to the people.
Yes, I'm very happy and excited because for a long time this road has been bad. But the Governor Siminala Fubara, came and did this road for us, and we are so excited today. It's motorable. Yeah, drivers can now use this road, but my advice is that they should also watch their limits since the road is smooth and good now, because people live in this community as well. This is Mba, so when you go towards this way, you meet Afara, then down to Egui, so the road is good all the way.
It is a good thing, because the entire Mba and the Eche is happy for seeing this kind of thing, because it has never been happening. Today we have seen it as a thing of recognition, and we are happy. We say God, in his infinite mercy, should bless governor.
The government has put more efforts in making sure that the rural area is being developed and that the roadway that leads to our various communities is being kept properly, and the structure is very nice and solidified. And my advice is that the government should continue in its good deeds. It shouldn't relent in its efforts of helping the rural areas. And I pray that God should keep giving him more vision towards the development of River States.
The presence and activities of vehicle inspection officers (VIO) on roads in Port Harcourt have continued to attract mixed reactions from residents, while some residents question the legality of VIO officers stopping motorists on the road. A legal practitioner, Barrister Chris, says the operations are guided by relevant laws and that the power of VIO officers should be clearly understood by both the officers and the public. Our correspondent now report the story.
No, madam, wait. I said, come out. I didn't do any other. I said, come out from the way. Let me back.
Here was not where we stopped her. There, before she even cleared, it took us time. Okay, finally, she cleared. Okay, open the door. Let me come in and see. So that we understand that was that she refused until finally
the way you were going about,
madam,
I am not feeling fair.
I can't stand there because of other vehicles. I can't stand there because of other vehicles. I have to turn.
The operations of Vehicle Inspection Officers VIO on Port Harcourt roads have generated mixed reactions among residents. Barrister Chris said VIO operatives on the relevant laws, adding that court orders restricting its activities in some parts of the country may not automatically apply to Rivers State. He explained that the primary duty of VIO is to inspect vehicles for roadworthiness and safety, including checking lights, horns, windscreen, and other vehicle components. He called for better training of VIO officers and public education on their responsibilities, stressing that officers who exceed their official duties should face disciplinary action.
Like the road safety, where you have a federal legislation that covers for federal roads the activities of road safety officers, safety calls, on federal roads. There was, of course, this issue whether officers of the road safety can function on state roads. I think that matter got to the Court of Appeal, where the Court of Appeal held that the activities of federal road safety call should be restricted to federal roads. So, besides federal road safety officers, there is a provision for VIO officers, that is vehicle inspection officers, made by Lagos State, Rivers State, I think Ogun State, and several number of states. The House of Assembly has made that provision for the operation of those officers, and then of course it dates back to the regional government, where regional governments had vehicle inspection officers, and then upon the creation of states, also different states, vehicle inspection, as it were, is something within the residual legislative list, which being, since it's now under the exclusive list and the concurrent list. Of course, the exclusive list are legislative matters in which the National Assembly can legislate upon exclusively, and then the concurrent list is matters where both National Assembly and the state houses of assembly can legislate upon. There is need for the monitoring of their activities to ensure that they are doing their job, right? And they are not going beyond the ambit, beyond the limits of their job as stated in their enabling law that established them, right? To make sure they do not cause citizens hardship, they do not, cause fright. Citizens are not even frightened to ply the road. They do not see that as a means to extort money from citizens. I think that that law, the House of Assembly, needs to look at that law. The business of lawmaking is a continuous process, right? There may be need to review the law and see how they can better operate. There may also be need for proper remuneration. How much are they paid as officers, as members of that organization created by law.
Meanwhile, some residents questioned the authority of VIO officers to stop motorists for document checks, while others raised concerns that their activities could contribute to traffic congestion.
They are supposed to be inside the town. They are supposed to be in the border. But since court has asked them to leave the road, they don't want to leave the road. They are causing obstruction in the road. If you go to water lines, you see them. They are in water lines, Jerry Junction, causing obstruction everywhere. When they come, you see 20 of them, 15 of them with cane, stopping vehicle, asking vehicle for vehicle particulars, expiring tire, and all the rest. So they are not supposed to be inside the town. They are supposed to be in the border. And I heard that court has stopped them not to stay inside the town. But I see no reason why they are still inside the town. They are doing something. They are not supposed to be inside the town. If they want to work, let them go to border. That's where they are supposed to be.
On the national scene, President Bola Tinubu met behind closed door with the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Mutakwa Rabedama, and Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Olanikbekun Olukayode, over the management and disposal of houses and other landed assets seized by recently the anti-graft agency across the country. The meeting, which held at the first floor office of the President at State House Abuja, centered on ensuring that forfeited properties are managed and disposed of under specific rules of transparency and accountability, particularly as the federal government seeks to put recovered assets to productive public use. The crucial meeting took place in the wake of a growing portfolio of landed properties secured by the EFCC through interim and final forfeiture orders in corruption and financial crime cases. It also showed present government at the center's increasing emphasis on moving beyond the recovery of assets to their proper management, completion where necessary, allocation or disposal in a manner that preserves their value and delivers benefit to the public. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory FCT Nyesom Wike has directed the immediate stoppage of the use of green areas, parks and gardens in Abuja as car dealership lots. A statement by Senior Special Assistant and Public Communications and Social Media Lera Olayinka says the minister gave the directive as part of measures by the FCT administration to address flooding in some parts of the Federal Capital City. Wike expressed concern over the conversion of areas designated for parks and recreation, including the Millennium Park and other green spaces, into a car dealership lot. He directed that the unauthorized use of such areas must stop immediately and order closure monitoring to ensure compliance with the directive. And in education, the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund, has warned tertiary institutions against unreasonable increases in tuition fees, saying schools that hike charge unfairly risk losing access to student loan payment. NEL Fund Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer Akintunde Shawa, who made this known to newsmen, says some institutions had increased their fees after the introduction of the student loan scheme, but insisted that the NEL Fund had refused in several cases to pay what it considered unreasonable charges. He went on to explain that the agency had introduced guidelines to prevent institutions from taking advantage of increased liquidity created by the student financing program. According to him, some institutions subsequently reversed their increases after realizing that they could lose revenue if NEL Fund refused to fund the inflated fees. Shawa also addressed concerns over delays in students receiving upkeep allowances, saying the agency's target was to process applications within about 45 days and explained that the actual payment could take longer because the institutions must verify applicants before NEL Fund releases funds. The Gombe State Governor Muhammadu Nuwa Yahaya has approved an additional 148.72 million in monthly subvention for Gombe State University GCU to avert an impending industrial action by the institution's academic staff union of universities ASU. The Secretary to the State Government, SSG, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar Njodi, who confirmed the Governor's approval, explained that a 56% subvention increase is designed to enable the university to implement the consolidated academic tool allowances under the 2025 Federal Government ASU agreement. The intervention follows a 14-day strike ultimatum issued by the ASU GSU branch, threatening a total, comprehensive and indefinite strike over unpaid salary arrears, wage adjustment, and non-implementation of agreements. And in politics, political parties, presidential and National Assembly candidates have signed the first National Peace Accord on issue-based campaign ahead of the 2027 general elections, pledging to shun violence, hate speech, misinformation, personal attacks, and other conduct capable of undermining the electoral process. The accord is signed in Abuja at a ceremony organized by the National Peace Committee in partnership with the Kuka Center barely 24 hours before the statutory commencement of public campaigns and rallies for the elections. The event brought together the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Prof. Joash Amupitan, political party leaders, presidential candidates, National Assembly candidates, the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, and representative of the diplomatic community, among other stakeholders. Those who signed the accord include President Bola Tinubu, represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, the Nigeria Democratic Congress presidential candidate Peter Obi, the Social Democratic Party candidate Adewale Adebayo, and his African Action Congress counterpart Omoyele Sowore. Others participants are the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Prof. Netanyahu Yilwada, the presidential candidate of the People Redemption Party and Labour Party, Donald Duke, Chibuzo Okereke, the deputy president of the Senate, Barau Jibrin, the PRP national chairman, Hakim Baba Ahmed, federal and state lawmakers party leadership, and other candidates. The event also featured goodwill messages from diplomatic representatives, including the European Union Ambassador to Nigeria, Gautier Mignot, and the Ambassador of Switzerland to Nigeria, Patrick Egloff. Meanwhile, African Action Congress AAC presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore has criticized President Bola Tinubu's absence from the signing of the National Peace Accord ahead of the 2027 general elections. Sowore says President Tinubu's decision not to attend the ceremony showed that the president did not consider the peace pact a serious affair. The AAC candidate who made the remarks on a television program hours after political leaders signed the accord in Abuja argued that President's physical presence would have given the accord great moral weight and demonstrated that the government is committed to the principles contained in the agreement. Sowore added that the President, as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, should have personally attended the ceremony to demonstrate his commitment to preventing electoral violence. President Tinubu was represented at the ceremony by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, while other political figures, including Peter Obi, Sowore, and Donald Duke, signed the agreement organized by the National Peace Committee. And on security matters, the Chief of Army Staff, COAS, Lieutenant General Y.D. Shaibu, says the contemporary security environment characterized by the rapid technological advancement and increasing reliance on digital systems requires the Nigerian Army to move beyond traditional approaches to record keeping. Lieutenant General Shaibu calls for integrated, secure, and technology-enabled systems that promote efficiency, interoperability, and institutional resilience, while urging personnel to strengthen the capacity in data governance, cybersecurity, record preservation, and information assurance. Declaring open the 4th edition of the Army Headquarters Department of Military Secretary Data Management and Record Keeping Seminar at the Armed Force Officers Mess Abuja, the COAS described the effective data management and record keeping as a strategic capability essential to inform decision-making, operational effectiveness, accountability, and the ongoing transformation of the Nigerian Army. Represented by the Dean Faculty of Combat Arms Research, Nigerian Army Heritage and Future Center, Major General Eyitayo Oyinlolo, the COAS noted that while considerable attention devoted to force structure, equipment, acquisition, and training, the effectiveness of the effort ultimately depends on the availability of accurate, secure, and timely information. He went ahead to stress that the decision on recruitment, commissioning, posting, promotions, career progression, welfare, logistic force generation, and operational planning are fundamentally dependent on the quality integrity, and accessibility of relevant data. In a separate development, scores of security personnel drawn from the Armed Forces Nigeria Police Force, Nigeria Immigration Service, Vehicle Inspection Officer VIO, and others have taken over the headquarters of the Ministry of Defense Abuja to prevent a breakdown of law and order due to the protests by retired military personnel under the umbrella of the Military Veterans Association of Nigeria. The retired military officers led by the retired Colonel Azubrike NAS are protesting over the non-implementation of consequential adjustment to the pensions following the recent increase in salaries of military personnel by President Bola Tinubu. The retired military officers are claiming that the recent increment should not have left them out, having served the country diligently for 35 years or more. President Tinubu had recently approved a new salary scale for 7 military officers with a view to bolstering their performance across all the tiers of operations in the country. And in Africa, Liberia has agreed to accept up to 1,200 people deported from the United States in one of the largest arrangements under the U.S. Trump administration policy aimed at deterring illegal migration. Liberian Information Minister Geraldine McPierre told newsmen in Monrovia that the deportees will be received over the course of the year, with the first group of 20 expected to arrive Thursday. The Trump administration has reached several agreements with African countries to accept deportees from third countries under a series of often secret arrangements as part of a broader U.S. crackdown on illegal immigration. The administration has deported thousands of people to countries other than their own. A key issue with the agreement is that they can involve migrants who have protection orders from the U.S. immigration judges barring their return to their home countries because of concerns for their safety. Still on, a United Nations riot chief has voiced concern at the report of arrest and detention of opposition members in Zambia before and after last week's election, which handed President Hakainde Hichilema a second term. The country's electoral commission says that Hichilema took around 60% of the votes in the August 13 general election, similar to his score at the 2021 polls when he won his first 5-year term. His closest challenge was leader of the main opposition NRPUP party and former cabinet minister Brian Ndubile, who scored around 38%. While Thursday vote was largely peaceful, the opposition said intimidation and restrictions marred its campaign concerns, echoed by the international election observers, including the European Union. Police are still holding several figures from the main opposition alliance arrested last week on rejected allegations of involvement in military or insecurity activities. And on the foreign scene, Israeli forces raided over homes and arrested a young man from the Kalandia refugee camp, which lies between Jerusalem and Ramallah. The Jerusalem government said it has yet to identify the man, Palestinian Welfare News Agency reported. And in Bethlehem, Israeli force arrested 2 Palestinians, including a news reporter. The Israeli army also raided Ras al-Ain in Nablus, where soldiers assaulted a 28-year-old man who had to be taken to hospital for his injuries. Security reports said Israeli forces raided several homes in the Balata camp, which is in eastern Nablus, and arrested 1 person. And in southern Hebron, Israeli forces arrested 8 Palestinians from the city of Ad-Hariya and also raided inside several homes while setting up military checkpoints across the Hebron governorate. On another front, at least 5 people have been killed and 11 others injured in Russian attacks on Ukraine. Kherson Regional Governor Olasandra Protskin says a Russian drone attack in a bus on the front line of city of Kherson killed at least 4 people and wounded 4 others. The attack took place at about 8:50 a.m. local time, and all the casualties were bus passengers. In a post on the Telegram, APP Aprokodian said the wounded has been taken to hospital. Still to come in the news, Nigeria Labour Congress warns federal government of fresh health sector strike over salary crisis. Stay tuned for details of the stories in a moment. We'll be right back. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. Now to the rest of the news stories. In business, trading on the Nigerian Exchange Limited has ended with a bearish performance as key market indicators extended their downward trend. Equity market capitalization contracted to 155.97 trillion naira from 156.52 trillion naira recorded in the previous trading session. The all-share index dropped by 843.42 points to close at 241.611.23 compared to 242.454.65 registered, reflecting sustained selling pressure across major market sectors. A breakdown of index movement reveals widespread declines, and also the Nigerian Exchange Main Board Index slipped to 10.892.14 points, while the NGX 30 Index fell to 8.859.78 points. And business, the Nigeria's Port Economic Regulatory Agency, MPERA, has formally commenced operations, ushering in a new era of economic regulation designed to make Nigeria's ports more transparent, competitive, predictable, and efficient. The agency commencement follows President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's assent to the Nigeria Port Economic Regulatory Agency Bill 2026, which established MPERA as the statutory authority responsible for the economic regulation of the nation's ports. Chairman of the NPERA Governing Board, Ibrahim Shema, traced the evolution of port economic regulation to the establishment of the Nigerian Shippers Council in 1978 and the concessioning of the port terminal in 2006, and noted that the Shippers Council is subsequently designated as the interim port economic regulator in 2014. Under the arrangement, the Council undertook key economic regulatory functions, including tariff regulation, dispute resolution, and protection of port users. Dr. Khan described the legislation as a fundamental reform of Nigeria's port governance, saying the new agency represents the culmination of nearly 5 decades of institutional evolution in port economic regulation. And in health, the Delta State government has described the flooding currently affecting part of the state as flash flooding, assuring residents that the situation is not yet the major flood that usually leads to widespread displacement. The Commissioner for Bureau for Special Duties, Terry Etacherure, would disclose this in Asaba while speaking on the state's preparedness for flooding and other emergencies. Says flooding was an annual occurrence in Delta and other parts of the country, stressing that the state government had continued to put measures in place ahead of the peak of the rainy season. Etacherure noted that the government has established a flood committee which he chairs to coordinate the state preparedness and response to flooding, adding that the committee comprises representatives of the relevant ministries and agencies as well as officials from local government areas prone to flooding. The commissioner said the state had also identified a location that could serve as internally displaced persons camps if residents of flood-prone community needed to be evacuated. He explained that the current flooding was largely caused by heavy rainfall and blocked drainage channels. Moving on to another story, the Nigeria Labour Congress has urged the federal government to urgently resolve the lingering salary dispute with the joint health sector unions, warning that failure to revive negotiation could trigger another industrial crisis in the health sector. The NLC President Joe Ajaero, who made the call in a statement to the Minister of Labour and Employment, said he is concerned that agreement memorandum of understanding and collective bargaining agreement is reached with the government over the years had yet to fully resolve the grievance of the health workers. The statement follows a July 31st communication by the joint health sector unions expressing frustration over the slow pace of effort to resolve its demands, particularly the adjustment of the consolidated health salary structure. The Labour President therefore appealed to the Labour Minister to intervene and ensure the negotiations resume immediately, while also urging him to engage the Presidential Committee on Salaries on the matter. And in sports, the Super Falcons are set to have a new technical crew in place before they resume their 2028 Women's Olympic qualifying campaign in October. Director General of the National Sport Commission, Bukola Olukbade, says the Nigeria Football Federation has asked the technical crew led by coach Justin Madugu to step down following the team's disappointing campaign at the 2026 Women Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Nigeria suffered the earliest ever exit at the tournament after losing 1-0 to Cameroon in the quarterfinals, subsequently missed out on automatic qualification for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup before a 2-1 defeat by the South Africa in the CAF play-off dealt a final blow on their dreams. Other members of the technical crew affected by the decision, including former Falcons goalkeeper and Chiejin goalkeeper coach Awal Makwala and Swedish duo Igor Kruch and Per Carlson, who worked as video analyst and fitness coach respectively. Still in sport, former Manchester United and Juventus midfielder Paul Pogba will be released by Monaco after a series of injuries. The French club says Pogba, 33, won the World Cup with France in 2018, but since 7, a ban for doping has struggled to return to the elite level. Monaco explained in the statement that the objective they have set for Pogba are partially achieved, ending his contract that would have run until June 2027. Pogba is currently sidelined with a tight injury just after returning from a knee problem. The 31-year-old can appeal the decision, although the ETR said he had not done so at the time of its announcement. And in entertainment, Nigeria music star Davido says he supports couples having separate bank accounts, stressing that both men and women should maintain personal finances for their own security. Speaking during an appearance on a podcast, the singer was asked whether he believes women should keep secret bank accounts away from their partners. He responded by saying he sees nothing wrong with the idea and believing it should apply to both partners. According to Davido, having independent finance is important because no one can predict what the future holds, and noted that both men and women should be financially prepared and able to stand on their own if circumstances change. Still on it, Davido maintained that personal financial independence is beneficial in relationships, concluding that everyone should have their own account regardless of their marital status. And that's it on CEMTV News at 6. But before we go, let's take a quick recap of the major stories. We started off by informing you that the River State Governor Fubara has commissioned the Entrepreneurship Center and other projects at the Alechi Amadi Polytechnic. We inform you that President Tinubu has met with the Housing Minister and the Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over transparent management of forfeited property. We also told you that Israeli forces have attacked and arrested Palestinians in widespread raids across the occupied West Bank. We also brought to you a report that the Nigeria Labour Congress has warned the federal government of fresh health sector strike over salary crisis. Many thanks for watching CEMTV News at 6. To ensure to follow us via social media handle at CEMTV Post across X, Facebook, Threads, and Instagram. We're also available on NICOMSAT channel. Do well to watch us on free to air. I am Bariswa Christian Huiga. Good evening. Do enjoy the rest of our broadcast.
This is CEMTV News at 6.